All right, folks, welcome all. Welcome to the April 14th, 2026 meeting of the Conservation Commission. Members of the commission are appointed by the Select Board to implement the rules and regulations of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Milton Town bylaw governing the wetlands. We have two issues of formality. One is that we invite all to speak and ask questions and make comments. But we do ask that because we're an open meeting and this is a recorded meeting, that you identify yourself. The second issue of formality is that we introduce ourselves. My name is John Kiernan, and let me just read right across my screen. Arthur Doyle.
Arthur Doyle, commission member.
Ingrid.
Ingrid Beatty, commission member.
Charlie.
Charlie Bosworth, commission member.
Wendy.
Hi, good evening. I'm Wendy Garpo, one of the commissioners.
And Tom.
Tom Palmer, commission member.
All right, thanks. And I think that's all but I'll have to keep looking to make sure I get everybody in. We've had, and for the members of the public, I'm sort of stuck between Cro-Magnon man and Neanderthal man when it comes to computers. And we lost our regular host, Steve Ivas, is out on medical leave, and so is Phil Driscoll. So I'm just filling in. So I just want to remind myself to keep looking to make sure I admit everybody. But we're ready to go. We've got a fairly short agenda, so we can move right along. Number one on the agenda is 515 Blue Hills Parkway. And we've got a lot of material here. So it was good to be able to take a look at this in advance. So thank you very much. Who is presenting to us tonight?
I am. My name is Garrett Tunison. I'm with Tunison Environmental Consultants. I am the consultant for the applicant.
Oh, great. And I have to start by saying, we pride ourselves in trying to advance the project quickly and be kind of user friendly. So I'm going to sound like a little bit form over substance, but I do note that your wetlands delineation is out of date. And I'm wondering if you could update that for us.
I certainly can. And yes, it took a little while for the project to be designed. So yes, I don't think it's going to move much just because of the conditions, but I certainly can go out and double check, refresh flags. If it moved at all, I can update. Not an issue.
All right, that's perfect. And I actually have a question because I can't see on the maps whether, and I see both the 100-foot line and the 200-foot line, but I can't tell where the brook stops and the pond starts, so to speak.
Yes.
Not that it matters. It's just that I'm curious.
Basically, the pond was not on the property, so any of the pond would be riverfront because of the flow through the pond by the stream. Basically, the engineer took the location of the bank from the ortho photographs and placed at that location, placed the bank delineation. That was not done in the field because it's not on the property. It's nowhere near the property. So that's how that was done. As far as, of course, the wetland, which I believe is a BVW. I believe it drains down into the pond. I believe it's connected. We're calling it a BVW to bank of the pond. It would, qualify as a BVW. And it was delineated, of course, in the field by hydrophytes or wetland vegetation and hydric soils and evidence of hydrology.
All right, good. It's a pretty sensitive area to us. For obvious reasons, it's a beautiful resource, but we also own the land. And we were out there recently for an inspection. We're putting in a pedestrian bridge at the south end of the Pope's Pond to go over Pine Tree Brook. So we were right in sort of in your backyard. And if Philip were here, I'd be able to ask him, but I'm actually curious. You may know this, but do you know where the town easement is and what number? There's a paper roadway that goes between some of the houses. We were out there about 3 weeks ago. We couldn't figure it out.
I do not. Sorry.
Okay. All right. All right.
John, it is on the town GIS map.
Yeah, I know what I was out there with Marina Fernandez. And some others, Dan Dulaski, professor from the School of Engineering at Northeastern. And so we had a good site walk, and Darwin Savelis was there as well. But we didn't have the map with us.
Okay.
That's why we were kind of struggling, because we wanted to know where we were. And then right after that, I saw this particular application, so I was curious.
John, it's between 563 and 575 Blue Hill Parkway.
All right, that's really helpful, Tom, because we were trying to figure out if there was access, if we needed to have heavy equipment, sort of a boom truck of some kind to lower the pieces of the bridge. One
It
side
looks
is easy
about
on
50
Summer
feet
Street.
wide.
What's that?
It looks about 50 feet wide. I'm looking
Right.
at the town GIS.
All right, good.
Excuse
All right.
me. No, I'm at Mass Mapper.
All right, thanks. All right, and I didn't mean to get distracted, Garrett. I
No,
apologize to you.
that's-
So
that-
can you
that's
get
okay.
back and just tell us what the plan is, including the
Yes.
demolition?
So basically, to my understanding is, there's two houses that are being proposed. Each one is approximately 200 feet by 100 feet in size. And everything is located up gradient in the lawn and in the area of the existing structures. So there is a single family house currently on the lot, and there is a large concrete slab. And last time I was out there, which has been a little while, but I took photos and I did a detailed analysis. There was a concrete slab, and there was also on a portion of that slab, or adjacent to that slab, was a dilapidated shed, sizable one. So that was in the back of the house. So it had a asphalt driveway, and it had a couple other areas of concrete behind, like a patio behind the house. So that's what I saw when I was out there. That's what I took photos of. So everything is pretty much, for the most part, is in the 50 to 100-foot buffer zone, except on lot, is it lot, I believe it's lot 1, which is located, I think the closest, it's lot 2. The closest location is 58.4 feet. So it's outside of the outside of the 50-foot portion of the 100-foot buffer zone. So it's in lawn, and in the area where the closer location is in the lawn, and it's also occurs in the area where that concrete slab and shed are located, which is on lot 2. That's not lot 1. So basically, both homes would impact approximately 12,927 square feet of buffer zone, the 50 to 100-foot buffer zone, in the lawn and in those in the impervious areas. So they're not really impacting much in the way of vegetation other than lawn. So there were a couple of trees back there. I don't know if they're being taken down. I think that they were outside of that area. Maybe one of them is being taken down, but it's mostly just lawn. And there are a couple of little landscaped areas with a couple of small shrubs last time I was out there. So that was a couple of years ago. So or 3 years ago. That's when that was done. Let's see what else. So I explained the closest location. That's 58.4 feet on lot 2, and it's closest to flag A10. Does anybody have any questions as far as the plans? I do have them if you would like to share would you like to share your screen? I can bring them up if you'd like.
Yeah, I've got them in front of me, but it might be helpful for everybody
for the
else.
Viewers. Yes. So
and there's one comment I think on let me make sure I get this one right. On hang on a second, because I think it's
sure.
One of them is missing. I know C2. It's C2 just needs the 25-foot designation. The line is there, and it's on C1, but it's not on C2.
Okay.
That's an easy fix.
From the engineer.
All right. Do I have to help you with the screen sharing?
Yes, you have to allow me access.
And if I knew how to do that, how am I
Dis-
doing? Did you get it?
It said it was disabled. Let me try again.
You are screen sharing. That's just me. How do I need to share it with you.
Yes, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Didn't Steve used to say you have to make him a host?
Yeah, but that's what I'm struggling with that.
Yeah.
You know, where's Steve Iverson, Phil Driscoll when you need him? Or you. I'm not doing very well in screen sharing. You are, it
Yes,
says that I'm sharing.
and I apologize. I don't know. I'm on a lot of these, but I'm typically just the guest, so I apologize as well.
No, well, I apologize because I'm not usually the host, and that's my responsibility. I actually don't see it. Anybody know what to look for? Drag to move. I'm striking out stop share and then go back and start share.
Yeah, I
You
think
figured out how to share your screen.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, I know. It looks like I'm sharing mine, but not yours. So I'm striking out. So just
Sorry. Okay.
describe
I
for
can,
us.
yes, I can describe it. No problem. So basically, what's being proposed is the single family homes, and they have a deck on the back side of the homes towards the wetlands. But it's still outside of the 50-foot buffer zone. So that is what's being proposed on both lots 1 and 2. So on lot 1, it's kind of nestled between the structure of the house. In the center of the backside is the patio. So that's how they have it structured. And then on lot 2, there's a patio if looking at the house from the street towards the wetland, on the left side of the proposed house on lot 2 in the back would be the patio, and then on the right side would be the deck. So basically it's a rectangle. 2/3 of the rectangle would be the deck, and then the left 1/3 would be the patio. Also, since there is an increase in impervious area, there would be an increase on lot 1 of 1,480 square feet of impervious area. The roof drainage and the patio drainage is currently proposed to go to subsurface infiltration units. So the stormwater would go into the ground, into these chambers, and it would be like galleys. So it would be able to sit and then slowly leach out into the soil to avoid overland flow of stormwater, and to reduce any potential pollutant load from like atmospheric deposition of nitrates or phosphate, or that would also result in, say, like animal waste, like bird droppings, or small mammals or whatever. So it wouldn't go from those impervious areas onto the lawn. And if we had and if so, the drainage is being captured from the impervious areas, including the roof and the patio. So that's what's being proposed on both lots.
You've got 1,081 increase on lot 1. What about lot 2?
It's 1,480 square feet on lot 1. And then the increase on lot 2, because it currently has more impervious area because of the shed and the concrete slab and the part of the house. It's or the driveway. I believe it's the driveway. It's 170 square feet of increase in impervious area on lot 2. So it's pretty small. The total area of the proposed project on lot 1 would occur in 6,327 square feet, and on lot 2 would be 6,600 square feet. And again, these areas are already highly disturbed. The wetland itself, you may have noticed, there were quite a few invasive plants also in the wetlands, so or on the edge between the lawn and the wetlands. So we did see, numerous species like Oriental bittersweet, autumn olive, Tartarian honeysuckle, glossy buckthorn. Those are the ones I recall from being on the site, and they were all documented in the notice of intent. So
And I know I was looking for a tree survey, and I think when I went through it, I found it, but do you have a tree survey for those coming down?
I didn't see it, but I didn't do a tree survey myself. I don't know if anyone did. A lot of this,
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I have pictures that show the trees, but I can't share them, right? I was just looking online and it says if the host can share, if the host clicks the arrow by the share button and selects enable all participants. Do you have a up
Yeah,
arrow by
I'm
your
looking at
share?
that, but I don't see enable all participants. That's what I can't find.
Yeah. The host can click the upward arrow next to the share screen button,
Got
select
that.
advanced
I
sharing
did that.
options, and change who can share to all participants.
We, this is one of my pet peeves, but what I'm looking at is an AI assist in doing that. That's the
Yeah.
problem I'm having.
So you don't get that option when you click the up arrow by share if you're in the Zoom thing.
It just says, do you want to share? And I say yes. In meeting workflow.
It says select advanced sharing options and change who can share to all participants.
It says you are screen sharing now, but I think that's
yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
As a host, you're supposed to have
I know.
more functionality.
I know. Nick Milano was the one that saved me on this because we didn't have a host, and he just made me the host. But I have to follow my sword on this one. I don't know how to do it. But the point, Tom, is that we need to have a I don't screen documents advanced.
A tree survey?
I don't see it.
I
So in any event, going back to Garrett, I think what we need is a tree survey as to what's coming down because they have to be replaced.
Yes, yeah, I don't know if there are any trees. I'd have to double check, but I do have photos, but they're not. I didn't see any trees in my photos, but I didn't see a lot of the backyard in my photos either. So I'm not certain.
There were two very large ones in the backyard, really big.
Okay.
But that was in 2023, and they may have been cut since then.
Okay. I'll definitely check that. And if trees exist, I will go and do grab the DBHs and give you the species and their locations. I can do that. So I was just doing that today for Mass Highway out in Littleton. So,
well, I think, don't we have a policy that if you cut trees over 3-inch diameter breast height in the buffer as part of your project, you have to replace them proportionally. And that's why we ask for the survey, because if there is a tree back there, for instance, that's 30-inch diameter, we would ask you to either plant 10 3-inch trees or more shrubs than that to replace the same diameter inches of woody plants. That's our policy, and that's why we'd like to have this list.
yeah, I'll check that. There's no issue with that. If they're there, I'll grab them for you. If not, we'll figure it out. We'll put some mitigation in for that if they're not.
Site property identifies Norway maples in the tree layer. So
Okay, so those are invasive.
yeah, they sure are.
Yep.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're not replaced, though.
That's right.
So you do replace the invasives?
Yes.
Okay. Do
Well,
you have,
Well,
Norway
are
maples
you,
we do, not
Trees.
Not with Norway's, but maybe northern white oak or red oak
Yes.
or
preferably.
yeah, or I'll take a look. I red maple. I have a plant list from when I did the wetland delineation. I always put a plant list in my reports. So I will check to see what I have, and then I will provide that to your office. So the conservation office, and then you know, I'll mention what I feel we can replace or what we should replace. Given your guidance here, we'll make sure we have if it's 10 trees per a 30-inch tree, we'll do 20, you know, 20 trees. Do you have a recommended size? I usually recommend 18 to 24 inches because they don't stress as easy. But it's again, certain towns, Braintree, they ask for like 1.5 inch, which is really big. But and I know the larger ones stress if you're not there watering them constantly. So, what do you prefer?
We prefer the larger ones because it's going to make it easier for you to match the circumference or match the diameter, however you measure it. It doesn't it works both ways, whether you do diameter at breast height or circumference at breast height. But if you replace the full amount, it's easier if you're replacing them with 2.5 or 3-inch trees, or 2-inch trees. It may be a cost factor in there somewhere, but you're going to have, if you've got 30, you're going to have 15 2-inch trees or 10 3-inch trees.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
and again, the performance standard is the same. It's 75% survival
okay.
after we always say 2 years. I know the regs say 2 growing seasons, but
Yes. Well, that's 2 years.
yeah, it is.
John, do you want to go over the fact that they don't necessarily all have to be on site?
Yeah, that's
Okay, so
true.
you do have that, like Braintree has that option. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
And
we have a sort of a virtual inventory, so you can pay, and it's $700 per tree to pay into the. I don't want to call it a bank because some people give credit at a nursery. Some people plant them elsewhere, but and the town can use those trees in the inventory, the virtual inventory, so that they can put them on public ways and sidewalk trees and whatnot.
yes.
So it actually goes into a big bank for the town.
Yes, so I'll talk to the client and the architect who are the more or less the principals on this project to see what they'd like to do. And I will definitely get back to you on that one.
All right. Time wise now, typically, when we approve the wetlands delineation, we go out and take a view, and we try to do it in such a fashion that we don't slow you down. But
Understood.
if you're going to reflag, how much time do you need? Because we can do it
Well,
within the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
I can do it very quickly. I don't have an issue. And I will it'll probably likely be, and I'm not certain because things do change, but it'll likely be refreshing the flags. And I will check between each flag, making sure the soils haven't changed, the vegetation. And if we have wetland conditions, I will of course expand it. Or I don't think it's going in reverse. So we'll see if it's gotten larger. If it has, then I'll mark those locations, and then we could do either an offset or have the engineer the surveyor pick it up. Okay.
Right. That's perfect. From Conservation Commission members' perspective, what's a good Saturday in the next 3 weeks? We'll start with the first one. I think, what's our meeting date? I think it's May 4, 11, 12, May 12th. So work backwards from there. So next Saturday is what, the 21, 20, 19th?
Mm,
18.
18th.
18th, 19th, yes.
So Garrett, is that may not give you enough time.
No, and I actually I work with Sustainable Plymouth.
Okay.
And I am managing a booth for the Herring Festival.
Oh.
So I apologize that I will not be available for that one. But the next one I will have my son, but I don't see an issue. I can still.
That's perfect. How old?
He's gonna be 16. So he's
That's good.
getting up there.
That's good. What's the date for the next one? That's April what?
25.
Yeah, 25. Yep, April 25th.
How's that sound to you, Arthur?
Good.
It's good for me. Ingrid, I'm going to skip you, Ingrid. Wendy? Yeah, you're on mute, Wendy.
Sorry about that.
Here.
I'm afraid I'm going to be out of town that weekend. But please don't
Okay, Tom, can you
reschedule my
make it?
account.
Tom, you good?
What date are we talking about?
April 25?
Yeah, I could do that.
All right. Charlie?
Out of town on the 25th, John.
Actually,
Okay.
sorry, the 25th is actually that's the day of the Herring Festival. I apologize. I'm looking at it. It's not in my calendar. I just checked. So I
Okay.
apologize. I would be available, the 18th I would be available. May 2nd I'd be available. Those are no issue. So I apologize.
Okay, so let's start over again. Arthur, how are you on the 18th?
I can do the 18th or the 2nd of May. 2 May would be preferable, but I'll do the 18th. Anything for you, John.
Thanks, Arthur. Okay, I can do either one. Wendy, can you do one of those 2 dates?
No, I'm afraid I'm out of town every weekend until the middle of May.
Okay. Tom Palmer?
I could do either.
What do we, Charlie?
Out of town the 18th and the 2nd, John.
All right, we're striking out there. So the only one we can rely upon is Hans at this point. Am I skipping? And I don't think I am. So that only gives us 3 for those 2 days. Why don't we set a date tentatively? And you said May 2nd. Is preferable for you, Arthur?
Yeah, either 2 or 18.
Okay, well, I can do either one. I was just trying to make it most convenient for most people because I'm going to call Hans and make sure that he'll be able to attend. But why don't we set a tentative date of May 2nd?
Why don't we hold them both and then just go with what Hans says?
Is that okay with you, Garrett?
Yes, certainly. Not an
Okay.
issue.
All right, we'll do that. So and that's a public hearing. It's going to be announced. It's a public meeting, and we can vote at that time. So we try not to, put up time roadblocks for you. We try to get it done as quickly as we can. So we'll hold both of those dates, and I believe that Philip Driscoll will be back in action within a few days. He's laid up a little bit right now, but I think he's on the mend. So he'll be back, and he's the one with whom you can coordinate. First of all, do you know Philip and how to get a hold of him?
I don't know him that well. I know Steve well, but pretty well, but I don't know Philip. I mean,
right,
we've
well-
interacted a little bit. I have some emails from him. I sent the green cards to him and the receipts so that he'd have them.
All right, so you've got his
before-
email, then
Yes, I do have his email. Yep.
stay in touch with him.
Okay.
I didn't want to, so I think we can continue the case until either the 18th or the 2nd of May for a public meeting with the assent of the applicant. But in addition to that, I wanted to, are there any other questions from commissioners as to the project itself?
Yes.
Shoot, Tom.
I'm going to be a little critical here, Mr. Johnson. I hope you don't mind. I got this very heavy package, and as I'm looking through it, many pages weren't written by you, but are instead lengthy quotations from the regulations, which I already have, and I can get them online. And I just feel like this submission is filled out with a lot of stuff that you didn't write. And I just would rather see a leaner submission that doesn't weigh so much. As we were, you were
He's
talking
trying to
about
save the
your
trees, Garrett.
right? We were talking about your plant list. That was an interest to me. Do you have it in front of you?
I can pull it up. Yeah, I have the list, and I apologize. That's I get either people love the wetland wetland resource area delineation report, which is what you're referring to. Some people love it. It's just the methodology on how the wetland delineation was performed, how we did it. So that's
It was 10 pages, 10
yes,
pages before anything
yes,
that you wrote.
yes, you're right.
Um,
Section 5, that's where it starts. So yes, you are correct. That's just what it basically explains. Anybody that I look at this, there are a lot of commissioners, and I really appreciate people that are say, I want to do something and do something correct, and they come and they may not know this is something that I do every day. I'm well versed in it, but a lot of people don't know. So I provide that information. If you read through it and it explains why I did what I did and how I did it and that's basically the reference. But you
all
are
right,
correct.
all right, I get it. Yeah,
Yes.
it's true. Well, everything you're saying is true, but I would say that a lot of commissioners are already familiar with this material.
Yes.
As we go on to the plant list, I'm a botanist, and if you look at the second page, you have a plant called Salix daphnoides, or violet willow. And I just went on iNaturalist, where I go all the time, and I
Yes.
learned that that's only been recorded once in the continental U.S. in Minnesota.
Okay.
So that made me a
Might have
little bit.
seen that. Yeah, I don't. I
All
know
right.
Pussy
And
Willow
if
was
you
out
go
there.
down,
Might have been
if
black.
you go down a few plants
Yes.
later, you see Virginia saxifrage,
Yes.
Saxifraga virginiensis. Now,
Saxifrage,
I've been
yep.
botanizing in Milton for 40 years. I've never seen that. So
Okay.
when we have the site visit, I want you to show it to me.
Yes.
It will be kind of exciting for me to see it. The
Yes.
closest place I've seen it is high on the ledges of Moose Hill and Sharon. And I
Wow.
mean to go back to see it there again. But at any rate, that sort of stuff on this list doesn't
Yes.
give me the confidence that it was made on site. I'm sure it was, but I just want to say that I read this stuff carefully, and if
Yes.
I don't point out things that seem to me inaccurate, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. As
Understood.
far as the site visit, if I could show those photos that I took in December 23, you would see the deep black ruts at the rear of the yard. And when you see deep black ruts, that often means a soft organic soil. And so it's just my impression from seeing the place that there's significant wetlands in the lawn area, and also that they'll be hard to flag because all you will have for plants is the lawn grasses. So when we do get there, I think we're going to have to look hard at those soils, and I just suspect that there might be more extensive wetlands than the flags show. But that remains to be seen. But I just thought I would give you
Just
a
so you
heads
know,
up about that.
I have a background in soils, and I looked at
Good.
the soils. When I looked at them, there was, and also when you look at that surface, I agree that there is a deep black layer. It looked like the loam was pretty thick along. It kind of came up, and it wasn't an OA layer at the time when I looked at it. I found a lot of, I would say about 35% grit, so sand, that was in there. So I called it, I believe, a sandy loam or fine sandy loam. And it looked more like that maybe some of the material when they put the loam down, it might have gone to the low portion. A little bit of that might have ended up, so it's a little deeper there. But once you get back a little further and you go down into where the wetland area is, you will find like 6.2, 6.1 10YR, 5.1 10YR, B horizon, and you can see that's clearly depleted. And there is also high chroma modeling. So you will see it there. The area that I didn't flag at the time when I did it did not contain a hydric B layer. So that was very clear. So that it was.
Yeah, that's something I will look
clear.
forward to looking at with you when we're there. The ground
That's-
will be frozen. We'll be able to see everything.
And
We can-
just so you know, the plant list, I do that. I typically record it, a video recording, and I will list the plants that I find. Then I go back. I have an access database, and I go and I check off in the access database the plants. Sometimes I miss a few that I didn't uncheck from the last time, and sometimes I accidentally check one or two. So that might have happened in this situation. I don't know. That I go through it, but I don't always catch them. So if I didn't catch
Yeah.
them, I apologize. So that's
fine. And I suggest that you take Salix staphyloides off your list.
yes.
Because- Yeah, you're
Um,
not going to see it.
I will.
well-
We could clearly talk about this in the field. You can see
Right.
I know what I'm talking about, and I'll gladly do that. Okay.
That's fine. And I thank you for your listening.
Any other commissioners with comments, questions? Are there abutters or members of the public that have a question or would like to make a comment? Yeah, I actually have another question on the demo side of this. I don't know when the house was built, but what are the precautions for asbestos control and on the demolition side of the project?
That's a good question. I do not know. So, and I don't know what the schedule is. First, I saw that there was one house coming down and that the house was coming down and that one of the lots was going to be constructed. Then the other one was added. So it's been a little bit of back and forth with the engineer, and certain things I was not 100% clear about. I did push them on everything related to the environment and this filing. That I do not know. So those things, a couple things weren't answered. I typically put a construction sequence in my notice of intent, exactly what's going to be done. I did not have the ability to do that on this one.
All right. Somebody can help me on this one. Charlie, you probably can, but am I correct that the demo permit is different than the building permit?
It is. It's a separate permit, John. They'll have to follow the DEP requirements if there are any asbestos contaminated materials in the site. They'll have to be abated. So I think that the DEP and the demo permit will cover any asbestos abatement.
Right, but to the extent that the demo is also within our jurisdiction, we should probably make sure that that's part of our order of conditions.
What part of that could we make our order of conditions, John? Like how would we hold, what would we hold them to? Do we have our own abatement procedures at the Conservation Commission?
Well, yes and no. I mean, any alteration within the jurisdiction triggers our jurisdiction, and what we can impose anything to protect the environment, and the release of asbestos would be something that would be of concern during the demo process. It would be responded to by the state regs that we don't have separate town regs, to my knowledge. We don't have separate town regulations on asbestos removal, but we need some assurance that during the demo project, we're not releasing asbestos into the wetlands.
Oh, agreed. I guess my question revolves around what would we be implementing on the project as the commission? If we don't have our own set of regulations, I'm assuming we are expecting them to follow the DEP requirements.
Oh, anything that's done within our jurisdiction, there's an alteration. Look at the equipment that they're going to have in the jurisdictional lands in order to demolish. That by itself would require some kind of order of condition, some special condition.
I understand that it impacts us. My question is, what are we asking the developer to implement?
Just that the demo permit include, when I say, I know I'm getting vague here in terms of terminology. What I'm looking for is adherence to the state standards for abatement. That the demolition will be constructed in conformance with the state standards governing the removal of asbestos. Which would
I
be
think
the
it would be
same
reasonable.
requirement.
I think it would be reasonable to request that in an order of conditions. Yes.
Right?
And
That's
I was wondering
that's
if,
my point. That's my point. That the demolition would be a project that would trigger our jurisdiction, and all we'd be looking for is not, there's no town bylaws to my knowledge, but we'd be looking for implementation of the state wetlands protection,
Right.
which would require conformance with the asbestos abatement regulations.
there may be nothing in the wetlands, but Charlie, might there be something in the building department regs that would reference the state?
It does, but
Well,
it is in the way, Arthur, it is there.
For the demolition?
No, any alteration. I mean, it doesn't say
No,
demolition.
I'm not talking about
Any
wetlands
alteration.
alteration. I'm talking about the demolition issue and whether or not we have some information in the building department on demolition requirements that we might be able to reference and employ.
Yes, we do, and they're state regs.
Yeah.
As to what you must do when you're removing asbestos, where
Right,
it goes, even.
I have a related question, and was with respect to the erosion control barrier, and what type of erosion control barrier is being recommended, please?
Yes, it was actually specified. Hold on a sec. I will pull that up.
I missed that. I saw it on the map, but
Yes, it's on the plan.
maybe missed it in the narrative.
Thought I might have put it in, probably in the compliance section. Let me take a look. It looks like it's going to be sediment controls will be placed around the sides and rear of the project within the existing lawn to protect the wetland resource area. These
Right.
sediment controls will consist of staked and tucked silt fence and staked 9-inch diameter straw wattle. That's what the engineer was proposing.
But Charlie, you can probably respond, because I usually defer to you and Steve and Hans and on this issue. But what are the ones that we were talking about at our last meeting as being sort of the best management practices? Wasn't it like a silk stock?
Yes.
Yeah,
8-inch.
We do.
Compost stock?
Compost tube?
Yeah,
Yeah.
compost filter tube is what Steve has been leaning towards over the past several years. We're getting away from the straw wattle, and we've gone to the compost filter sock.
Good.
We'll have that changed.
There are problems with the straw in terms of what it might contain.
Yes.
Mhm.
And also the
Leave
plastic.
after it, like invasives.
Yes, and then on
Seeds.
top of it, a lot of it's plastic. The wrapping that contains the straw is often plastic.
Good, thank you.
All right,
You're
any other comments, commissioners, members of the public, abutters? Hearing none, I don't see any hands raised. I don't hear anything, so we'll continue this with the assent of the applicant to either April 18th. These are Saturdays. We usually start at 8:30 in the morning on site. They are public meetings, and we'll be able to vote at that time.
Okay,
And with your assent, we will continue this to one of those two dates.
sounds good.
Set? Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, Garrett. I appreciate your time and input.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Number 2 on the agenda, request for determination of applicability 255 Canton Avenue. Who is going to present for that?
Hi.
Isabel. All right.
Good evening,
Welcome.
commissioners.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Isabel Farrar. I'm a member of the Glover Parent Teacher Organization. And with me today are Ellie Fisher, who's one of our co-presidents of the Parent Teacher Organization, and volunteer landscape architect Cody Klein, who is also a Glover parent and has been helping us with this submission. And so we are here this evening. I have the documents pulled up, and I'm very happy, we all are very happy to answer any questions that you may have. We received a grant from the Milton CPC to restore the backfield at Glover Elementary School. Currently, I know that Ellie walked the grounds with Steve and Wendy of Glover, but if you've been by, you can see it when you're walking on Turner's Pond. And the field is no longer really a field. That might be a misnomer for it. It's compacted dirt when it's dry, and it's a muddy mess when it's wet. And so we've received a quote from A. Thomas to till and replant grass on the field. And then we've been working we would like to plant shade trees around both the play structures, the playgrounds, and more around the school to provide shade and mitigate heat. And we would love to discuss next steps to get this done. We received the grant almost a year ago, about 9 months ago, and we'd love to get this planted to improve the school and the community's enjoyment of that space.
Isabel, I'm going to ask you a kind of a goofy question, but I don't see Wendy on.
I don't know Wendy. We did lose her. I don't know at what point we lost her, but she is no longer, unfortunately, with us at this moment.
Because she's a big supporter.
Yes, I know. We were very sad to lose her.
All right, we'll get her. We'll get her back. It sounds like a great plan. I would actually like to see it. I'm well familiar with the area, but one of the reasons I'd like to see it is that, a year and a half ago, we had a site walk with DPW, and they had greatly overspent their budget trying to rehab the pathway around Turner's Pond. And that corner where it abuts the playing field is a real problem. And we all sat out there and kind of stroked our chins and said, how do we fix this? I don't know. We didn't come up with great ideas. We tried, underneath the pathway, there is some pipes, 4-inch pipes.
Well, I can say it's gotten a lot better. We live right next to Turner's Pond, and so literally we walk around Turner's Pond about 3 times a day with our dog, even when we're not walking to and from Glover. And the work that you did there is much better than it used to be.
Well, that's really good news.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the drainage has improved significantly. And we're really hoping that by retilling the field and making it so that, some water drains into the field, it will actually help all of Turner's Pond, because more water will stay on the Glover grounds rather than just, draining off into Turner's Pond and the surrounding space.
Understood. Perfect. I'd like to see it. This is not to slow you down.
Yeah.
Because we
would love it.
We're out there on the 18th or May 2nd. Is that good with you if we were to visit on the same morning?
I was sorry, you said, is that April 18th?
It's either April 18th or May 2nd, and it depends on Hans Van Lingen, because we won't have a quorum if he's not there. We have 3. Arthur is available, Tom is available, I'm available, but we need a 4th. So I'm counting on Arthur, because Charlie's not there.
I'm at the stage in my life where I'm shackled to suburban sports here in Milton. So I would love to meet you all on either of those days. I can step away from my soccer and softball parenting obligations to meet with you. So I would love that.
The never-ending obligations to be in 2 places at once. That's the magic of parenthood. All right. Any questions? It looks like a pretty good plan to me, and the funding is coming from CPC, which is wonderful.
And also the money raised by the Glover PTO donations.
And I didn't mean to slight them, because I know that the parent involvement is key, critical.
So I should point out that we put in 2 different submissions because we inadvertently have already planted some trees. We didn't know we had to ask for permission at the time those trees were planted. So you'll see that some trees have already been planted, but then the majority of these trees were asking for your permission prior to planting.
Okay, good.
I have a comment, John.
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
I'm looking at this very good looking plan by Mr. Klein. It's called Planting Plan. Cody Klein, right? That's you, right?
That's me.
This is a gorgeous plan that shows
Ooh.
all the proposed trees, all the existing trees, the trees that are already planted by mistake, the trees that are proposed to be planted, exactly where they are and what kind they are. So everything is here. And I would just say that I'm kind of excited about the group of 5 red oaks off to the west side around that. It looks like a sand feature or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
play. Yeah, it's
you
a
may
play
know
feature.
the concession stand at Odin's Pond.
Mhm.
If you go around the back, they have something very similar, a circle of oaks, very big pin oaks rather than red oaks, but now up 3 feet diameter and more, and they are just right. And I think maybe this could be something similar in the long run. It just seems to me a well thought out plan, and I'm pleased we're all going to benefit from it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think we're excited as well. There was some earlier consideration because, right now that play space is really exposed. There's very little shade for kids, and there was a lot of discussion about even potentially buying, large and wildly expensive physical structures. And me being a landscape architect, I'm a proponent of trees. So I think trees is a good long-term solution that not just our kids, but lots of future kids will also benefit from.
As those 5 mature, they're going to have a wonderful canopy.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. And we're going to plant them, at decent size as well, which we did for the previous phase. We installed 3 to 6 inch caliper trees. So they got some passive shading on those hot blazing facades quickly. So it's been good.
Wonderful.
Ingrid, any comments on the plant list, tree list?
No, I think it's very nice.
Good. All right.
Oh,
Tony,
the only
you
other
received
thought
some.
that I had on the trees is you're going to need a nice watering program.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we're very mindful of that. The first round of trees that we planted, we lined up volunteers. We had hoses and lined up volunteers to water them all summer. And, through the spring, summer, and fall. And so we're very mindful of doing that again and, expanding the watering program.
Thank you.
Yeah, we installed gator bags on all the
Yep.
trees, and there was someone responsible for filling them up, and they've done quite well. So
Yeah.
we're happy.
Yeah.
Just don't let them go on vacation this summer.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, you've all received high compliments from the Conservation Commission, so thank you for your work.
Thank you. So may I ask, what are the next steps? I know that we're meeting with you all to walk the site, but we're very focused on getting these plants in the ground, as you said, to benefit the kids and the community. And so we're just curious what our next steps are.
This is called a request for determination of applicability. That's kind of the short form procedure. When we visit you on either the 18th or the 2nd, that will be a public meeting and we will vote there. And if you hear the word negative, that's a good thing, okay? Because what we're saying is that you do not have to file a notice of intent, which is you'd end up at the same place because it's a good project. It costs like another, I don't know, another $100 or something, and it's a little bit longer form. But I anticipate, I can't prejudge the vote, but I anticipate you'll get a negative determination with certain conditions. And the conditions will be easy, like if you bring in like a mini excavator to dig a hole to plant the tree, you can't refuel the mini excavator within our jurisdiction, and you're within our jurisdiction, so you can't refuel it there. And the contractor will say to you, "Yeah, I know, right? We're just kind of stating the obvious, and you can't store it there overnight within our jurisdiction." So you get that kind of a special condition. I don't think you'll need any kind of erosion protection because you're going to dig a hole, put the tree in, and fill it right back up again. So I don't think you need any erosion protection for the planting.
For the lawn, I mean,
We-
not to make our jobs harder, but for the lawn, I think we will.
We
But
will.
I've noted what you said about the silk socks, and I've been living with like the disintegrating cream plastic around Turner's
Yeah.
Pond. So we'll be sure that, you know, any erosion control is like you've requested, the silk sock version of the erosion control.
Right. Yeah. And I should add on special conditions for lawn wise, we do require that you use either no or low nitrogen on
Of
any kind of
course.
fertilizer.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
But that would be what it is. It's a negative determination, which is good for
Is
you.
what we want. Okay.
You don't, yes,
Wonderful.
right. You don't want another form to file with those special conditions, but they're conditions that you can live with and support.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, so
And say it tight, you know, it will be announced on the town website, but if you stay in touch with Phil Driscoll at the DPW
yes,
office, he
I've
can
been
tell you because
communicating with him. So
perfect.
perfect.
That's perfect. And then we'll be able to tell you. And the only holdup is trying to figure out when we can get a quorum. If we can do it on the 18th, we'll do it on the earlier date. If Hans
Wonderful.
is not available, we'll have to wait until May 2nd. Okay,
All right.
but one of those two dates we'll see you at Turner's Pond, and it'll probably be, 9:15, something like that. Because we'll go to Blue Hill Parkway first,
Okay.
and then we'll head over to Glover School.
Well,
Okay.
I'll certainly hold that time, and I'll coordinate with Ellie and Cody so that as many of us are available as can be.
I would love
right,
to walk
sounds
and
good.
talk about plants with this
Yeah.
group. So hopefully I can make it.
All right, that's perfect. Good news to all. Thank you. I didn't ask, I don't see anybody else, but are there any members of the public that I can't see that wanted to make a comment or ask a question? I don't see any hands raised and I don't hear anything, so I think we're good to go. We'll see you on
Wonderful.
either the 18th or the 2nd.
And
Okay.
do I need to give notice of the next hearing to the abutters or no?
No,
Okay.
no, we'll take care of that. Posting, it's a public meeting posting. So we'll take care of that. You're
Wonderful.
done.
Well, thank
Okay.
you so much. I'm going to go put my kids to bed. Lovely to speak with you, and we're really excited about this project and really value your input. So thank you very much.
Good news. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank
John,
you.
Thank you.
Wendy is in the waiting room.
What's that?
She's in the waiting room. You need to let her in. Wendy.
Oh, should we
Oh.
can wait in case.
She's coming back. We'll have to find out where she went.
So she said she's in the waiting room and you need to let her in.
No, I know I see her. I let her in. She's
okay.
coming up.
Oh, terrific. Terrific.
My connection often drops without any warning.
Yeah. Are you back, Wendy? If you can hear me, you're on mute. I can't see you, but it says joining. So it might be her internet.
Maybe we
Say
can
she's
ask,
in. Say
we
she's
can
in.
ask AI to make her for us.
Recording progress.
Please.
Are you there, Wendy?
She's on
Maybe it's
point.
like- Wendy, it sounds like you called in as well as you may have to mute one of the computer or the phone.
Okay.
Are you in? It says you're in.
John, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Oh.
you.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm having a heck of computer problems. I'm not sure what's going on.
You went to the same computer school that I did.
I think there's smoke coming out of my laptop at the moment, but
Not to worry, you took some compliments in your absence because
Oh, I
we
did?
all know that you're a supporter of this particular project. So we thank you for your input. Everybody thanked you for your input.
oh well thank you. Are we on the Glover project? Is that
Yeah, we just wrapped it up.
oh
We just finished it.
But we're
Well, we're gonna
staying-
have a sidewalk, Wendy.
Okay.
Wendy, sidewalk on either one of the dates that we cited earlier, the
Okay.
18th or the 2nd.
I wanted to share something with you guys about Glover School, if I may.
Yes.
So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was meeting with some of our legislators about some environmental issues, and had the pleasure of meeting with one of the staff people at Elizabeth Warren's office, Senator Warren's office. And would you guys believe that the staff person is an alumni of Glover School?
Oh, great.
Yes.
Great.
And she is a recent enough graduate that she actually is very familiar and remembers her time getting to walk the baby ducks through the hallways and the playground at Glover. So
That's pretty good.
I know. I know. Yeah.
Has she made it all the way to the high school yet?
The staff person?
Yeah. You said she was just out in Glover recently.
Well, I mean, she's a grown up. She lives in Washington, D.C.
All right.
She works on the Hill, but I mean, I think the mother ducks have been nesting in the outdoor classroom for what, 20 years? Ellie, is that about right? Do you know?
Yeah, it's been quite a while. I believe it was Marita Cronin who introduced the mallards to the pond, and then they started nesting in the outdoor classroom shortly after that space had been built. And we had a little bit of a break with the mallards during COVID, and just last year we had them back for the first time in maybe about 3 or 4 years, and we had 2 mallards nesting in the space. So I'm hoping that over April break, the mallards will start scouting again and come back for another generation.
Please let me know, Ellie, if you guys need any additional doulas on hand.
I will, Wendy.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks all. Next on the agenda is Certificate of Compliance, Milton Woods, 175 Governor Stoughton Lane. Arthur, will you take over, and I will disappear. I have recused myself historically from this, and I will do so again. For anyone, members of the public, my law firm represents Pulte Development, not in this case, or not for this project, but in other matters in several different states. So I will disappear, and Arthur, could you text me or something?
We'll shout out. Definitely.
All right, perfect. Thanks all.
Okay. Okay, we have the documents with this, everyone, from Pulte Homes and the March 1, 2022 letter from Paul Marchionda, which a number of us will remember. Dave, are you here for this particular matter?
Yes.
And if so, welcome.
Hi.
And we'll turn it over to you for introduction and status at the present time.
Sure. My name is Dave Ferrer, and I'm with Marchionda and Associates. We were the engineers for the project. And this is, as you know, it's been off and on for the last few years. I think the initial plantings in the buffer zone were done in 2018. And there have been subsequent replantings in 2023 and again in 2025.
Right.
And at this point, we're asking for the certificate of compliance. We had Scott Fisher from SWCA do an inspection last year. And although all of the plantings that were originally planted did not survive, and we think that due to a couple of reasons, there were some deer observed multiple occasions out there and grazing on the plants. but we do contend that this is fully established at this point, 100% established with vegetation. Some of it has survived, some of it's native and volunteer species, but all of the restoration areas are thriving at this point.
And I think, if I recall correctly, we had a site walk related
That is
to this
correct.
with Steve Ivers.
That is
On
correct.
that, others on the call tonight may have been there as well. Possibly Wendy, that may be familiar with you. I'm trying to remember in the back of my mind who may have been on the sidewalk. Any questions from the commissioners?
I do, John. Excuse me, Arthur.
Oh, go ahead, John.
I have looked at the materials and the plans, Mr. Farrar, and thank you. They're pretty remarkably thorough. I wasn't on the commission when this was permitted, but I'm familiar with the site. My first question is, would you say that most of the plantings you're talking about are associated with I think there are 6 or 7 infiltration basins?
Yes, so they are around the infiltration basins. There are a couple of other areas around the site where they were planted, not necessarily just at the detention basins, but along the entranceway where you first come off of Unquity Road. There was some plantings up there, and then behind the first few lots on the left, there was also some plantings.
I'm looking at your color photos, which are really remarkably helpful and helping me understand. And it does seem that all these areas are fully vegetated. In fact, so fully vegetated that it makes me wonder, will it happen that the floors of these basins could be overgrown? Is there a maintenance condition that provides they will be kept open?
There typically is part of the operations and maintenance plan as part of the notice of intent. I do not have a copy of that right now.
All right.
That's usually something that is part of that.
It could become an issue down the road. I'd just like to say that I've lived in the area. I've been keeping an eye on this project, and I never saw in the whole history of the project any dirt come down that road. Not one day did I see any dirty runoff coming down the road. And if you go to the project, you'll notice the infiltration basins are a kind of a ladder going up the hill.
Yes.
And so there's no point at which a basin has to accept flow from a very large area. They all have their contributing areas. And to this day, I haven't been able to figure out if any water is getting under Unquity Road toward Pine Tree Brook. Doesn't matter how much rain there is, I never see any coming out of that project. So it's just my impression that as far as stormwater goes, this was done about as well as it can be done, just from how it looks right now. And I'd just like to congratulate you on a plan that seems to have worked.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else from members of the commission? And so we have a request relative to the certificate of compliance. We have the engineering plan with the materials. We have the letter to Mike Rosati from Scott Fisher dated June 19th, 2025. Materials are complete. If there are no other questions, is there a motion to accept and issue the certificate of compliance?
So moved.
Thank you, Ingrid. Is there a second?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ingrid and Tom. Any comments from commissioners or members of the public, please? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please. Ingrid,
Aye.
Wendy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
and Arthur, yes. So it is unanimous. Dave,
Yes.
we thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Please pass along the compliments that were shared with you to other members of your team,
Yeah.
whom we've worked with for an extended number of years. It's got to be close to 2 decades.
It's been a little while. Yep.
Yes.
Only
Thank
about
you
10
very
years
much.
altogether, but that's okay. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
I'll call John. I've dialed him and let's see if he can come in. Okay, John.
Great. Okay. I'm coming. Hang on.
Thank you.
So you're done with
We
number
are. We accepted the certificate of compliance was adopted.
four? Oh, perfect.
And I have the information for the minutes on that in terms of the vote.
All right, perfect. So that takes us to number 4, which is new business. Anybody have new business? I've got a couple of things to report, but I'll wait for anybody else.
No,
Anything?
nothing here.
I guess the first piece of new business is Ingrid. If you don't know, Ingrid has submitted her resignation after 19 years of service, of good service. And I've never been shy about telling people how valuable your insight has been, Ingrid. And if you don't know Ingrid's background in chemistry and biology, she's a PhD in some unknown thing that's too complicated for me to even
Unknown thing.
But you've been our resource, Ingrid, for all these years, for decades now, in terms of MSDS. If somebody's like the MBTA is submitting their vegetation management plan, or Wollaston Golf Course is submitting their application to use particular algicides. I don't even know what an algicide is, but you do, and that you've been of inestimable value to the Conservation Commission. So I am very grateful. We're all very grateful for your years of service.
And I had a blast. It was fun and very gratifying work.
Does that include getting stung by bees?
Oh my gosh. Every time I drive on Randolph Avenue and I look to my right, I have flashbacks.
I bet you do, but I have to say you were one of the fastest moving human beings I've ever seen.
All that training. Yes.
And Ingrid, how about that frozen tundra like Saturday that we spent up at
gosh.
Remember that one?
I couldn't feel my fingers.
Right.
Oh, it was the 2 of us, I think, only, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. At the natural gas site with the
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like going to the North Pole.
bitter cold. And we were all bundled up too. And it was just unbearable. Yeah. Wow.
Memories.
So I would, and I had talked to Ingrid before this, and I asked, the obvious question: how are we going to replace you? And it's a more difficult question to answer than you might think at first blush. There are lots of people that would serve the Conservation Commission well, but if anybody has any ideas as to how we could possibly attempt to, we'll never succeed, but to replicate the skill set that you have provided to the commission.
And I'll continue.
I don't know them.
Continue to look. Like I say, I thought I might convince my former colleague David Johnson, who we also was at Mintz with me. Now I don't know where he is right now, but he's got a PhD in a biology discipline and a JD as well. But he thought about it, and then he got back to me and said, I don't think I can do it. But I'll continue to sniff around and keep you posted if I do find anything. The kicker is resident of Milton. That's,
Right.
It is. And I talked to Nick Milano and said, Nick, I don't know if there's any way that we could ever replicate what we've got in the person of Ingrid. But he said, why don't you come up with some language for posting on the website to invite people with that kind of biology and chemistry background.
That's great.
And that's not to exclude other people with other skill sets, but yours is going to be a tough one to replace. So what I said to Nick is that we talk about it tonight and see if there was sort of a consensus that we can just invite people, not to say that we or anyone would select a person, but just to put on the website. The Conservation Commission would be very appreciative of service by a biochemist or somebody with that kind of a skill set.
Right.
That sound reasonable? That if we were to put that invitation out, because we do have the data bank that this town has. I don't know what it's called. Arthur, do you know what it's called? Is all positions are available, all volunteer positions are in some kind of a data bank. I've seen it. I just don't know what the title of it is.
And Linda Napoli can help with that.
Yeah. All right. And I know there are lots of people that would enthusiastically volunteer, and they probably would be great. But I think we ought to make an effort to replace the skill set, because we do need different facets of expertise. Anyway, all right. I'll talk to Nick and just have some kind of a generic. We'd love to have somebody with a science background, particularly in the areas of biochemistry.
Ingrid, will you be moving out of town? Will you be changing your residency, if I may ask? Or
No, I'm staying put. I'm staying put. But I'm on the board of another organization now that's taking up a lot of time. And in the summertime, I plan to be away on my boat a lot. And I was thinking about last year, I missed a whole bunch of meetings in through the summer. So that sort of factored in. So I want to be doing more cruising.
yeah.
I tried to offer her more money, Arthur, but she couldn't take it.
I know. Compensation package is very generous.
The thought hit me, John, that there are some towns, some communities that have alternate commissioners. So they're not permanent appointees by the select board, but they're appointed as an alternate to pitch in if one of the permanent appointees is not available. So maybe at some point in time we could do a little bit of homework, or if you want me to take a look at that, if we have some very good qualified people in town who haven't moved out of town and might be available sometimes during the year, but not all the times, who might serve in the capacity as an alternate commissioner.
No, that's a creative thought. And it's a town council thought, because I think the Wetlands Protection Act actually suggests that the town, must appoint a certain size. It's not always the same. It's not always 7. I think you can have a different number, but I don't know what the state law requires. But I think it's a good thought. I know that like the Zoning Board of Appeals does that. They have people that they can move around and sit for a particular project, but not all projects. It's worth exploring, and
okay.
I've got a meeting set up. I've had a number of meetings, which is another issue that I want to talk about. At 88 Milton Street, I've had a number of meetings with John Flynn, who is still doing town council work, even though the town has moved on to Copeland and Page away from Murphy, Hess, Toomey and Lehane. Both Kate Conley and John Flynn have been retained for particular cases. Kate Conley is working on the Lower Guile Road field, and she's working on 648, 652 Canton Avenue. And John Flynn is working on the 88 Milton Street conservation restriction. That's about a half acre. If you don't know, it's about a half acre up at the corner of Brush Hill Road in Milton Street. And 88 goes all of it. 88's the big house, beautiful brick. I think it's a marble first floor, and the rest of it's brick. It's a very lovely home, and they've got about 10 acres of land there. So when that was sold back in 2014 from Dr. C to Dor Bagnall, there was a long-standing fine and we agreed upon 75,000 was the cost of the fine, and that actually was added to the sale price. So the buyers actually ended up paying for Dr. C. And then at the same time, they agreed to deed to us a half acre of open land conservation restriction. So he's working on that. So I'll ask him just generally, but I'll consult with and I don't know his name, and I apologize for that. The new town council, Arthur, do you know his name? He's at
Yes.
Copeland and Page, or KP Law is what it's called now.
GYN, about 3 letters to a name. I'll get it in a minute, back by mine.
All right. Well, anyway, I'll reach out and ask Nick the same question. But we'll get that up on the website hopefully this week.
Good.
All right. A couple of other things. One, I received notice today from National Grid, and they are replacing the gas main on Riverside Drive. So they're going to open that up. It's a 3-foot trench. It is maintenance, and they're giving us notice, but they're claiming the maintenance exemption. And I think they're right in terms of replacing the pipe. They're not doing anything new or different. But this is a really sensitive area. And if they're going to open a 3-foot trench, now it says in the letter, and I'll make sure that everybody's got the letter. We just received it. I received it today. It's dated April 13th. And it'll show you best management practices, and the exemption from filing any kind of a notice of intent or RDA does say, as long as A, it's maintenance and it's not a new project, and B, that the utility uses best management practices. So they're claiming to do that. I just want to make sure that we put it under the microscope, because if they've got a 3-foot trench on Riverside Drive, that area is about the most vulnerable piece of land subject to flooding and coastal surges that we've got in the town. So I just want to make sure we put it under the microscope. So I'll send that around. They're right, but I think we should respond in writing that they need to make sure that the trench is filled on a nightly basis, and they have some kind of protection during the open excavation to prevent any kind of a flooding. And they do it at a time that, it's only going to be a few days project, I believe. And I just want to make sure it's not done at, full moon tide.
Right.
Because that road's in trouble, as we all discussed at our last site meeting. So that's new. We've got open space. That just came in today. We've got the assistant town planner is Avanti Grady, who's now getting very active, and he's trying to participate in this regeneration and rejuvenation of the open space committee. So I got a bunch of material today, so I'll send it around to everybody to take a look at. There's nothing to be done, just to be aware of it. And they're looking for our participation in the new open space plan. So we're at the planning stage of this, but I think we ought to take a look at it and put our oar in the water and just say what our position is in terms of what are our priorities in open space and this whole climate change battle. So I'll send that around to everybody. And I think that's it, except for and it's something that Arthur and I were talking about earlier, and that is, and I don't know where the driving force is, whether it's DEP or if it's NEPRA, but the state, in conjunction with NEPRA, is putting up a series of heat sensors throughout the watershed area, and Arthur's been involved in that and suggesting there are certain places in the marsh at right off of Riverside Drive and Thistle and Cortlandt Circle. And as Arthur said a couple of times to us, the marsh is extraordinarily hot. Arthur, you can give the stats, but what is it, 10 times the heat of an equal canopy of forested trees?
Correct.
So it
Wow.
is a heat source, and they're trying to monitor it to figure out if is there any way to control it. I'm not suggesting you plant trees in the marsh, but I don't know what the plan is, but it's a data collection effort, and I think it's a good one. So Arthur's involved in that. Any updates on that area, Arthur?
Nothing other than the fact that the other 3 locations that I recommended were at Baker Dam, at Hollingsworth, Tilliston Dam, and along Unquity Brook at some location, maybe down toward the intersection of Unquity and Gulliver Creek.
Okay.
Or the
Right.
headwaters of Unquity up toward the police station. I think I may have given both of those locations for consideration. But anybody have any advice? We can amend it.
These are thermometers.
I haven't seen the devices yet,
I don't know what it is.
but they are installed. Usually they put them on posts or on trees, Tom. I have an air quality monitoring that a previous environmental coordinator from Milton asked to have installed at our home, and it's on our deck. So I sense it's going to be similar to that. It's probably the size of a coffee mug, or a little bit larger.
Yeah. More info is better than less.
Okay. And the only other thing is that, just to get everybody up to speed, we did vote at the last site meeting. Some of you were not present, but we did vote at the last site meeting when we were at 1386 Canton Avenue, that we would vote to support a grant. It's a matching grant in which the town is the applicant, but the money is coming half from the state, and the matching component of the grant is coming from NEPRA. And NEPRA asked us to do this. It's a wonderful marsh restoration and remediation project. And so Cassie Calabro, I'm sorry, I was hesitating on her name, the assistant town planner. No, she's the environmental
Correct. She's
person.
an
She's
environmental
actually
coordinator.
driving this, working with Liz Manning, who's the town planner. So the two of them put the application together. And so the Conservation Commission voted to issue a proclamation supporting that effort. So we voted to approve that, and I had actually already sent it, but we voted sort of in retrospect to approve the support for that project. We had talked about it at the last meeting. We just didn't vote on the support. So that's done.
Great.
Anything
Awesome.
else? Nope.
I'll just mention that I've been keeping an area known as a town forest under observation. Who knows what I mean when I say town forest?
Sure.
Well, I know.
Off Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the big wooded swamp above the Harlan Street flood storage dam, generally the part reaching over toward Wallison Golf Course. And my observation is that the water level that caused the golf course to go to the Board of Health and get an emergency permit to trap beavers, I think is higher than what we have now. And the reason I say that is if you walk from the dam through the woods toward the golf course, you come out of the course and you can see there's some big rocks in the swamp. Then they have water lines on them. And what I saw couple of weeks ago was the current water level was probably 6 inches below the high water mark on these stones. So it's evident that at this time of year, in other years, the water has been significantly higher. So even though the beaver dams are in place, I'm not anticipating we're going to get that request again.
All right,
because the
Tom,
water doesn't seem to be as high.
that request did not come from the golf course. That request, there were two requests. One of them was from DCR, and the other one was from DPW, the Milton DPW. And Ned Cochran did appear and support that on behalf of the golf course. But the applicant was the town of Milton through its Department of Public Works. On the second instance, in the first instance, it was the DPW. I'm sorry, it was DCR. So the golf course did support it, but they didn't bring the petition.
Well, when we toured the golf course, they pointed out the areas where the grass was dying. Portions of fairway that they said they were about to lose. So I guess I would be surprised if they had never made any such request. But I'm not arguing with you, John, that it was a DPW that made the request.
Marina Fernandez did it herself.
Yeah. And
I talked to her that evening. I talked to her the week or two before that. She wasn't happy about it, but she said, we got to save the road.
And one other note, I did ask a couple of meetings ago, do we know if the gas collection system at the landfill is connected to the Quincy collection system? And I've had no luck getting anyone to answer that question for me, like Marina or the new engineer. Asked them both, haven't heard back. I just feel like I need to do more before people will talk to me, and I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I don't think they would know. This goes back a bit, and I'm going to see Rick Neely in the next couple of weeks. I can call him tomorrow, but he might know who the engineers were because he was the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, the chairman of the Select Board at the time that they did the 50-year lease back in 98.
Yes.
Whenever it was. He was the one that was negotiating with Quarry Hills.
Well,
so
I assume that there's a deal that was made, and the deal was that Quarry Hills would monitor and maintain that system. But it is on town land, and I think the town should have some basic information about it. And my question is that basic information. Now, it's sort of related to that other question I raised. I showed you evidence that Quarry Hills was getting water abatements in Quincy. That's another question I would like to ask. Are they paying what everybody else pays for water in Milton? Are they buying any water in Milton? I don't know the answer to that either. That's a question you might mention to anybody. I think that's something we ought to know.
Okay, I'll follow up with Nick Milano on the second part of that. The first part of it, though, we might actually have that information because somewhere around 2014 or 2015, the town actually had some kind of a power generation study group that made an application on behalf of the town to set up some kind of a methane generator to create electricity for the town, to run police, fire, DPW, and the schools. And we had a number of hearings. It might have been earlier. It might have been back in 2012. And we had a number of hearings, and then it just went up in smoke. They just disappeared. So I called somebody, whoever their spokesperson was, and said, hey, where'd you guys go? And they said, well, it looks like the methane is not in sufficient quantity to allow a return on investment. It was very costly to build. But
that makes sense.
you would capture the return on investment would come over the years of creating electricity that's essentially then free for the town.
Yes.
So they would have to know that because they'd have all the data on the projected methane volume.
Yeah.
But I actually thought that Philip was going to look for that, but I'll remind him when he comes back. He's out. He was in an accident, for those that don't know that, so he's recuperating. But I think he's okay, and he'll be back hopefully within the week. But I'll talk to him and see if he can find that application, because I think that would have the data, Tom, what you're looking for.
Yeah, I would mention, if you don't know, they did an energy project at the flare in Quincy, which you can see at the bend of Ricciuni Drive. If you're going to Granite Links, you go up the driveway, takes a bend, you can see a cage up on the hill with a flare in it. So there's a flare in Quincy and a flare in Milton. And the energy project was built in Quincy and lasted in 2022. And then the contractor came and pulled out the turbine and didn't reconnect everything. So the flare was basically offline. And that is not a good thing. You do not want a lot of methane just leaking out of your landfill.
No, you don't.
Yeah. And one thing that was said when this was discussed in Quincy, I think it was Brian Donahoe, remember him from way back?
Yes.
He said, oh, well, they just shunted the gas over to the Milton flare. And that didn't sound very plausible to me, because it didn't seem like they would have connected the systems to begin with. There was no reason to do it. And it sounds as if when they're talking about energy projects, they didn't regard them as connected, because they thought they had to do two energy projects. At any rate, I would mention that we were at the site visit at the stable up on the access road, and the owner there, Lenore Giacalone, she told me that she rides by the flare on the Milton side all the time. And she says, it's often going. You can see it better at dusk, but it's going most of the time. So it does sound like that flare is working, while the one in Quincy was kaput for 3 years. So I want to get the answer to this, because I want to go back to Quincy and say, these are the facts. I also want to go back to my friends in Quincy and say, no, you're not paying for any water to water the Milton end. I really don't know what the answer to that is either. But I thought that was pretty scandalous that the bills of Quarry Hills were being spread around the other ratepayers in Quincy. To me, that was just awful.
Gotcha.
That doesn't affect Milton.
Well, that's my question is, when Milton bills for water, do they bill Granite Links? That's what I would like to know.
We have a successor from Marina. You may know that she has left us being the DPW chief.
Yeah.
And it's Tom McCarthy.
Yeah.
And Greg, whose last name is escaping me right now, in that department handles all the water.
Thanks.
So I would suggest touching bases with, in fact, Phil knows who Greg is very well, because I've had contact through Phil with Greg. And you can just ask Phil for our water commissioner, and he'd put you in touch with Greg, and Greg could answer that question for you.
Great. That's what I'll do. I don't expect it's happening in Milton, but I do want to know yes or no on that.
Got it. All right. Anything else for new business? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. All right.
Ingrid,
Thanks all.
is this your last meeting?
Yes.
Ingrid.
Oh, Ingrid, we're missing you already.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Yes.
My pleasure. Have a good night.
Ingrid, going to something that John said, you will have a successor, but not a replacement.
Yeah.
Nicely put. Nicely put.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Ingrid.
you,
All right.
Ingrid.
Good
Thank
night, all.
you, Ingrid.